the third black box testing technique, that is decision table testing. So when we can go for decision table testing? So basically, if you want to test with multiple sets of data, combination of data, basically. So when there is a combination of data, then you can prefer to go for a decision table testing. So there are number of conditions will be there. So you can generate the number of test cases based on the number of conditions. So there is a formula, 2 to the power of n. That many test cases you can generate with this decision table testing concept. So there, 2 to the power of n means, what is n? N is number of conditions, the number of fields in that set of filtering, maybe a page, right? So that all set of conditions, if you give that many test cases, it will generate. So that's this decision table testing when you can use it generally. So, and why we cannot use these two, boundary value analysis and equivalence class partitioning, for the combination of inputs? As I mentioned yesterday very clearly, boundary value analysis, equivalence class partitioning techniques are only applicable for input field. So wherever you can input the data, those fields only can apply, and that too there is a range. But if there is a combination of inputs like this, you go to Amazon, perform a search. So these are the different combinations. Brands is a one, customer reviews is one, department is another condition. This is the condition, this is the one condition, this is the one condition, this is the another condition. So like this, you have so many conditions. So this combination of so many inputs, right? So many inputs, and you can use them. So these inputs, so to test this search area, so that you can apply this boundary value, decision table testing. So that purpose we are going to use. So there is a decision table testing technique is used for testing the system behavior or application behavior for different input combinations. So different input combinations, if you want to give, you will use decision table testing. So that's the one. And high level, if you see here, if you take a simple login, you have it two combinations, two conditions. One is username, password. So here, so 2 to the power of 2, right? 2 to the power of 2 means why 2? Two conditions, two fields only here. That's why 2 to the power of 2. Then that many rules will generate 4, right? 2 to the power of 2 means 4 conditions. So conditions means username, password. Why, how many rules you are getting? 4 rules you are getting. What are the 4 rules? If username is correct, wrong, and password is wrong, then output is going to be error page. Second rule, if username is correct, password is wrong, error page will be displayed. Username is wrong, password is correct, you will get error message page. Username is correct, password is correct, it will land in the home page. So that's the true, false, true, true, false, true, true, false, false, false. So these are all we know these combinations, right? Based on the condition. So that will be a different combination. Maybe even you get more. So the AND conditions or conditions you need to apply. So that is the this. So decision table testing, how you are going to write it. Here is the cases. Is how you will generate the test case. 4 cases enough for that. Okay, that's a decision table testing. Is best example is this combination of inputs. So multiple combination of inputs if you want to test. So decision table testing, you can apply basically AND and OR logical conditions are there, right? Those are applied here. So the developer, whether he has used proper logical conditions or not, you can test with the decision table testing, and it will find out all design errors, coding logics will be checked properly with this technique. That's advantage. Above are just ranges it will test. But this one, so you can very deeply test the code, whether they have properly using the logical operators or not. Logical undo, logical or, logical not, you can check with this decision table testing. So is it clear or any doubt here in this? See, this is the one condition. This is the certification, new arrivals, packaging option, all top brands, Amazon, so certified, payment plan, business type. These are all the different conditions. Okay. So that's the decision table testing means. Any questions before moving on to the state transition testing?
No question.
Okay. So now the state transition. So what is mean by transition? Can anyone define transition means?
Moving from one state to another state.
Yeah, moving from one state to another state, right? So that's the state means here not our country states. State means a position, okay? Or when it comes to applications, one page to other page or in the page itself, the element form will move one form to another form. Suppose I will select this checkbox. See, before it was unchecked. Now it is checked. State is different, right? That is what, when you do action, the state of the application, the transition is taking place. So that is the state transition means. But let me give you very good example. So state transition means, so the system can have n number of different states, and when you perform the action, transition takes place. When you perform the action, transition will take place. So that is the state transition means. Suppose you take a ATM diagram. Okay. So you are inserting a card. Then first it might ask you select the language and then type of account. Then it will ask you enter the PIN. Right? Maybe PIN first, then type of account. So it will vary, depends on the how. So you are going to which banking system you are using. And once you enter the PIN, once you card insertion is an action, right? So when you insert, you will get a new screen. So enter pin something like or select a language something. So the state is going to change because what is the action you did? You inserted a card. That's the action. Then it will move for the next screen. That's a state is changing. And you will enter the pin first time. If it is correctly entered, you will get an access to account. Suppose you entered first time incorrect, then this path won't be there. Then only this path will be. So it will ask one more time, enter second time pin. If second time, if you enter correct pin, then you will get access. If not, it will prompt you enter third time also pin. So third time, if you enter correctly, you will get an access to account. So if third time also you entered wrong password, then your card will be blocked. So this is the different states it is changing. So that is called state transition testing. You can apply for any web application. That's what. So you do the action, it will move to next page. Basically in the web applications, pages or element status will change. Element state will change. What is the previous before action? What is the state of the element? After action, what is the state of it? That you can check here. Okay. So clear? Any questions? Okay, fine. So that's how you can generate the more test cases here. See, the first test case should be very much sensible to enter the correct pin at the first time. The second test should be to enter incorrect pin each time so that system rejects the card. So to test all transactions, firstly do the testing where the pin was incorrect the first time, but okay second time. Another test where the pin was correct on the third try. So that's what that test cases you have to be taken care. So but all three you should not enter first time itself. Okay, the combination, different combinations you have to make it. Then last you can enter all three. So when all other cases are over, and you have to give priority for the last priority for this blocking the card. Okay, so the basic tests are very, very important. That's a state transition testing means. So what is error guessing? Error guessing means, see the meaning itself tell you, guess the error. So that means, so error guessing is, so it is well depend on the tester skill set. Previously he has tested the applications, he got some experience and he has seen some, he found few testing bugs on the application by giving a different data. That experience you can use in the current application. That is called error guessing. Based on the tester skill and knowledge, you can find the defects in the current application while applying those techniques. That is called error guessing. You can guess automatically, you can understand, okay, this kind of field means this data, it will work and this data might get a bugs and you will get some idea. So those you can apply the same techniques here also. That's a error guessing means, otherwise nothing much here. Okay, so that's all about 5 testing techniques of black box. First one is equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table testing, state transition testing, error guessing. So mostly first two only mostly they will ask, not other, but first two only regularly they will ask in the interviews. So focus on that, those areas. So what is white box testing? So what is white box testing means? So black box, we are focusing only on the UI. UI means like this. This is the UI, right? The user interfaces, we call them. So that appears for you. That's the front end testing or a user interfacing. For example, I want to click returns and orders. So see, the state is changed. This is the front end testing or functional testing. You're testing the functionality. You just clicked on the orders, it landed on the orders page. So whether it is landing or not, you have to check it. So then you want to go to cart. See, when you reach the cart page, it is just cart page is just loaded, right? Cart page is loaded and one item. So here count is one, and that one item is showing here. Okay, so this is the so how you can test generally functionality. You will check the price is showing in same in all the pages, and also the count quantity one, the one quantity amount is showing here or not. If you change here, it is showing or not. This functional delete functionality. Generally, delete means what? It should delete from the cart. Save for letter means it should not appear from here, and it should go to save for letter in this area. It should come that. So this one should place it here under this basket. Okay, so that is the how you can do functional testing. So, but that's a black box testing, right? But white box testing means what? So, what is mean by white box testing? So, white box testing means you will mainly focus on the internal logic or applications code. So, basically, tests are based on coverage of code coverage and branches of paths and conditions. And so white box testing is also called structural testing and glass box testing, we call this. So you don't know what is inside the box. That means application front end, you don't know what is happening in the how the code is executing. So in order to do that, you have to test that. So you have to write the automation test cases to test that code. You're going to test the developer's code. You're going to test the developer's code. So how you will test? By writing automation test cases. Or even developers also will write a unit test cases. So that is the called that white box testing means. So again, white box testing, we have different techniques. So you can do by measuring the number of lines of code is there, and also how many loops are there, how many conditions are there, if conditions, if else conditions, and number of blocks. So all this you can calculate. So then so that all this you will get a report. Okay, you don't need to worry about that. Okay. Now, so why do you want to do white box testing? So you can exercise all the independent parts and you can test the developer's code. So all logical decisions are verified for their true and false conditions. All loops are executed for their boundary conditions. So that's the white box testing advantage. So as I mentioned, logical errors you can find out in the application. Design errors you can find out between the functional flow of the program, and typographical errors and syntax checking you can check with this white box testing techniques. One minute. Okay, somebody wants link. Okay. So, okay, what is the criteria to test this white box testing? So you should have a programming language knowledge. It's a very important. So we need to write the test cases. So to complete code coverage. Code coverage means you need to when you execute the automation test cases, it will cover all the lines of code that developer has written. So when you run the automation test cases, how many lines it is covering, how many lines it is not going to cover, it will give you a nice report. So manually, how can you calculate? There are more number of lines of code will be there, right? So there are tools. Manually, it is not possible. So in the code itself, there is a tool. There are tools. The tool will find out for you. So the tool will give you, okay, so how many functions are there? How many functions are tested? And okay, how many loops are there? How many conditions are there? If condition, else conditions. So we can cover them everything here. So with this white box testing. So there is a statements. How many statements are there? Total, how many statements covered by your automation test cases? And what are the total number of statements in the application? Multiply by 100 if you do, you will get a statement coverage. So basis path testing means, so exactly the flow diagrams will be there. The diagrams will be there. Okay, how the flow is going on. So let me show you in one of our flow diagrams. In the control structures, we have flow diagrams. So this is how your flow diagrams will be like this. So it is going, if the condition is true, you will get this path. If condition is false, you will get this path. So that's the flow. So basis path, at least a basic path and this flow, how it is going, that you can check with this flow diagrams. So that's the code, okay, how it will execute, how it will move. These arrow marks will point you very clearly. So those flow diagrams, so you can use to test this application. And decisions, as I mentioned just now, number of loops or conditions are there, and how many are executed, how many are not executed. You can, what are the total number of decisions, and how many exercised by your automation code. Multiply by 100. If you do, you will get a decision coverage. So there is a code coverage, very important. So, okay, you have written automation test cases. How do you know those automation test cases are effective? They will measure with a code coverage metric. Code coverage is a metric. So that basically helps to understand how much of your developer code is tested by your automation test cases. How many lines of code it is covering? How many loops are covering? How many if conditions are covered? How many functions so executed? So that entire report you will get in this code coverage report. Generally, every company will target 80% above is mandatory. 80 is the cutoff. So 80% is a mandatory code coverage. That's how your automation test case efficiency will be calculated. Okay, so that's all about. See here, function coverage, statement coverage, branches coverage, condition coverage, line coverage. These are the things will be covered in that code coverage. So this is how you will get. See that statements 83.33%, total 6, 5 covered, 6 total. Branches. So there are 2 branches, but 1 only executed. Functions, 1 function is there, 1 function executed. Lines, so 5 lines only executed. So this is the how you will get a detailed report. So that's the code coverage how you will get for your application. Yeah, so this is also another thing. So all the lines of code, and it will give you very detailed report for you. So these are the different tools, Jacaco, Cobertura, Atlassian Clover, and also Sonar Cube. That is the one people will use you for the Java applications. For JavaScript applications, Istanbul Blanket JS will be used. For PHP, PHP unit, Python coverage.py, Ruby simple code. These are the tools. These are all tools. It will give you code coverage automatically for you. Okay. So don't worry. This is all for automation testing, guys. It will be useful, but mainly functional testing purpose, black box testing. Functional testing is nothing but black box testing. So this is how you see. Your automation testing covered by these green color ones. If red color means that is not executed. That means you have to write more test cases again to cover these lines of code. So this is how you can get a report by those tools. Other than that, nothing. Just go through this black box and white box testing techniques. As again, so many, but just 5 is enough. You choose 5, more than enough. So what is gray box testing? So gray box testing means who is having both black box and white box testing techniques, other skill set, those are called gray box testers. So you know both manual and automation testing, then you are the gray box tester. So you can do both of them. That's the gray box testing. Other than that, nothing. Okay. So that's all about this testing techniques. Let's join back and we'll see test case design.